This is A.N.T. A.N.T is a 6-legged walker built with LEGO Mindstorms EV3, 6 large motors, 1 small motor, 7 touch sensors, and 1 infrared input device. It is constantly checking if at 10, 12, and 2 for the longest distance before moving. I realized early on in this walker process that the walkers move so slow that the majority of this needed to be done really in the software to minimize just wasted time. I can't say I really succeeded at that, but I did want to kind of share what I do have here. Anyway, so here we're starting to move forward here at a relatively slow speed. This is probably about 40%. You can see the eye constantly checking ahead for obstructions. And there's a touch sensor over the eye. In case the eye fails to see an obstacle, the touch sensor will override and stop the bot before it does any damage to itself. You can see the touch sensor almost hit, but the eye caught it before it. And here we're evaluating our environment again. Every time you hear that sonar go off, that means that the current distance is longer than the last distance. You can also hear other audio prompts or audible prompts, clicks and number calls, so that I can kind of see what the robot is thinking while it's doing it, and this is really good for debugging. And here we're going to evaluate one more time. I do have a variable in the center eye that if all 3 eyes are of equal distance, the forward eye gets added 10 centimeters or some number, so that if all are equal, it always wants to move forward. As it approaches this corner, it's going to stop, evaluate the corner, check the longest distance, and then you'll see the eye move to the far right as it turns hard left. And it'll turn that hard left until that eye clears 30 centimeters. And here's the hard left. That's first cycle. Here's the second cycle. These walkers turn significantly better than they move forward, so you can see why I lean toward the software for mobility as opposed to the speed. The up, down, down, down was me giving it control up on the throttle and down on the volume. Every time it starts that forward motion after it synchronizes the legs, it stands fully upright. It says searching. It will give me the number of the current speed and the number of the current volume and allow me to adjust it up to 5 increments of 5. if the volume drops below 0, it drops into like a stealth mode, and it disables all audio. And it doesn't just silence the audio, it removes it from the programming so that it doesn't interfere with any other motor functions, allowing the bot to operate purely as streamlined as possible. Here we're gonna see this counter here shortly. The two brains are in the center there. You can see the first one, the main brain, is kind of face up there in the torso section. Once again, we're doing the hard turn until the eye clears 30 centimeters. We're going to evaluate, and if evaluate indicates that forward is the direction we're going to go, you'll see it stand up again, and it will prompt for throttle and volume commands. Here on the floor, there's a slight deviation where the floor is not level in front of the refrigerator, and it's imperceivable to you and I as we walk across it. Although I've become acutely aware of it lately. You can see that center leg on the left side doesn't hit the ground. As it approaches the refrigerator here, which is slightly out of view, it'll make another determination, and you'll see it list heavily to the right because of that same deviation in the floor. .993 is the distances it sees at each point. The 0 is the direction that it chose, which is hard right, or one right turn anyway. There's a bug in the version of this. There's a bug in this version of the robot where it, when it announces the volume and the throttle, it indicates they're both at 1 or 10%, which is not accurate. I've fixed that in prior versions, but in here it's not. It's broken. And here we're moving at probably about 65%, and you can see how it's waffling to the right. Like I said earlier, that's deviation in the floor and a combination of faster leg movement. And here we see the counter as an obstruction. If any of the three distances it checks are under 10 centimeters, it will do a reverse and a hard turn to the right or left, depending on what direction it saw the obstruction. It's a fail-safe, so it doesn't back itself into a corner. I don't have an example of that in this video. Originally, the eye was a ultrasonic eye, which measures distance and sound. Primarily, I use it for distance. But I've replaced it with the infrared eye because the infrared eye, although it doesn't look as cool, it allows me to input commands. It also allows me to put infrared markers on there at various points in a room that would prevent the robot from walking off a staircase or something of that nature. Here you get a pretty good view of the legs and the touch sensors. The touch sensors are constantly doing leg synchronizations, which is why it requires so many sensors and so many of the available ports. And that dropping down on its haunches like that is the synchronization of the legs. Without having the touch sensors on each leg and the constant synchronization, the legs get wonky and out of sync very quickly. On the just above the eye there, you can see that slight touch of red. That's the 7th touch sensor. That's the one that the eye is using to synchronize. It's also the one that the touch sensor or the touch bar over the eye is using if should it fail to see an object before it stops. You can kind of see the second brain there sitting under the first brain. And a little closer to the gearing on the eye. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I certainly enjoy this hobby. If anybody else gets anything out of this, great. Take care.